What is up, good people? We're going to try to keep this rocking. Let me check the audio real quick. Make sure you guys can hear me. Sounds good. Sounds good. Sounds good. What's up, people? Welcome back to the Better Together podcast, because we are better together. And a couple of things we're going to talk about today is going to help you get better too. So here, I'm just not going to go into the whole thing. I'm going to let the people, listen. We got the incomparable.
Oh, well, thank you.
Ashlea Barber. What's up, Ashlea?
Hey, everyone. Thank you for coming back with us. Better Together this week. We got some stuff to talk about because, listen, in the new year, everybody's trying to get right, get tight, get their money together, get their marriages, relationships, all the things together. And one thing that can impede all of that is imposter syndrome.
All of it. All of it. Listen, you know how it goes, folks. You put in the time, you put in the effort, you put in the work. But when you go to do that thing, whether if it's a job or starting a new business or stepping out on stage for the first time,
Facts.
right? You put in all the work and you get out there and you don't feel like you're good enough to make that happen, right? So today, that's what we're going to talk about. But first, let me show you somebody who's not or does not have imposter syndrome, because this dude is all about his business. Check this out.
Because I'm the best in the world, even though a lot of you don't like to hear it. It's facts. I'm the best. You know what I mean? Sometimes I don't want to believe it myself, but it's the truth. I'm the best.
Well, man says sometimes I don't believe it's true because I'm the best. Yeah, I can't even believe it. I can't believe it.
Well,
but my man.
And here's the thing, Damon, switch it over to me. Okay, so after that, I wanted to read this quote that was on Stefan Lewis's LMFT therapist page on Instagram. He wrote, "Humility is not about refraining from acknowledging your own accomplishments. Humility is refraining from treating people like they're less than because of your accomplishments." So I think a lot of times in society, a lot of us get afraid to talk about the good things that we are doing, or, the new gig we booked, the new job we got, the new relationship we started, because we feel like we can't also have humility. But I think the way you say it and the tone you say it, and it's not even I met with a strategist for people who speak in the ministry or people who do speaking engagements. And this is the number one thing that she told me yesterday about posting in social media, that you have to be your biggest cheerleader. And so, Renee, thank you for that. But I think this is what Mike Tyson is trying to tell us, right? He was like, I'm the best. I don't know why y'all want to hate on me because I'm the best. And so if you are good at something, when you display that, whether it's in the way that you talk or your social media posts or even in the confidence of your walk, it's okay to be your own cheerleader and say that you're good at something. Now, what's not okay is putting other people down if they're not as good at it as you are.
I don't know. Some people have a problem with that. Put people down. When they're not as good at something as they are. Like when we were kids. I used to get on my cousins, because they just weren't as good at sports as I was. I kill them on the basketball.
Here we go.
Or on the basketball court, I murder them on the football field. Sometimes it's just like that, right? It's just like that.
So we all know that Damien doesn't have this problem, but for those of you who've never heard this actual term, I want to give you an actual definition. So imposter syndrome refers to those unfounded feelings, I want to note that, unfounded feelings of self-doubt and incompetence that we can feel at any point and in any aspect of our life, from work to friendships. It describes someone who feels that they aren't capable as others think and fears it's only a matter of time before they are exposed as a fraud. So for those of you out there who feel that way, our hearts go out to you. You are not a fraud. And we're gonna keep this going and talk to you about some ways where you can feel less like an imposter.
Side note, real quick, before we hop into this.
Here we go.
All right. There were some apologies happening this morning. I was watching this video.
What?
And 50 Cent was apologizing.
To who?
To Megan Thee Stallion.
He should.
Yes, exactly.
They all should.
And he said everybody should apologize, right? So in the spirit of apologizing, okay? In this camera, with this camera, okay. I want to apologize to my cousins, okay, for having them have this feeling because of the dominance I put on them over the years. So I'm going to apologize. They may feel like this imposter syndrome. I may have planted this imposter syndrome in them because of my dominance in sports, you know, and all the things. So listen, cousins, I apologize. Okay, this is me apologizing. This is the spirit of apologizing. That's what we're doing today.
Y'all. That's. I'm not even going to touch on that. However, I do want to touch on the Megan Thee Stallion situation, and we will talk about this later on in the year. But many Black women feel like, you know, they cannot speak up because they will not be listened to. And we saw this happen with Megan Thee Stallion. I mean, at first she didn't even want to come out and say that he shot her because she was protecting a Black man, which all Black women get that. And then secondly, when she did, a lot of people jumped on her. And so 50 Cent, I think it's awesome that you apologize, but I think y'all need to rethink calling Black women liars. I mean, what did she have to gain or lose from calling him a liar? I'm sorry, but who goes around bragging about being shot? Nobody. Let's move into 2023 with a little bit more humility, empathy, and understanding, perspective taking. But as far as Damien's talking
that's what I'm trying to do. I'm moving into 2023.
Nobody's trying to hear that mess. Because your cousin, nobody's trying to hear that mess. Your cousins aren't here to talk about it.
Okay, all right. I just wanted to apologize. It's 2023.
Whatever.
I might have planted this. I just want to make sure that we get that on record.
You know what?
I just want to make sure we got
We're pausing for the cause, and this year, every time Damien says something off the chain ridiculous, it's the face. It's going to be rolling my eyes. Everybody in the audience listening, just roll your eyes.
Listen.
Okay, because first of all, if we put his cousins on there, it'd be a whole other situation, a whole story about all this ridiculousness.
The story is the story.
Let's get into this. I learned something new today because imposter syndrome is not my, my thing. It's not my specialty. Oh yeah, roll that disclaimer, please.
Yeah. Before we get on, let's make sure that we give the people what the deal is. We can't get into our show without rolling this. Watch this. The podcast is for educational entertainment purposes only. The content discussed is not a replacement for therapy or a formal therapy session or group. This is not therapy and or therapy group, and all content is generally based and not specific to any issue, problem, or person due to lack of a personalized information and absence of a signed agreement from all parties stating that this is a therapy session or group. Let's get it. All right, folks. Now let's get into this imposter syndrome. All right. Before we get started, Ashley, or as we get started, let's roll through what the 5 types are.
Let's get it.
And we got a short video for you guys for that. So watch this. Now, with the 5 types, some of you might fall into a couple of those categories. It may just not be one of those categories. So actually, let's walk through each of those, and you give your synopsis or help around these types of imposter syndromes.
Yeah, and as we get into the types, I just want to, highlight for some of you that some of you have probably never heard that this is even a thing, but you've felt this your whole entire life. So I'm sensing that you're probably taking a deep breath right now and just being like, what? This is a real thing? Like, I can actually get help for this? And the answer is yes. And any therapist at Favor and Grace Under Fire would love to help you if you have imposter syndrome, or any therapist around the valley, because, I'm a equal opportunist. So, but let's talk about these 5 types. So first, we've got the perfectionists. Damien, have you ever had issues with being a perfectionist?
Me, no. I'm one of those. So one of my mantras is good is better than done, right? So sometimes people wait until the end to get something done. Like they won't move
Right.
forward until they got all of the
Yeah.
I's and T's crossed, right? They
Facts.
want to have everything done before they take the first step.
Mm-hmm.
Me, as soon as I put on my shoes, I'm ready. They may not be laced up. They may not be, but I'm gone. I'm out the door.
Sport mode.
So it's sport mode, right? So as soon as I slide into my Crocs, like I'm good out the door. So
Yeah.
this one doesn't hit. Maybe a couple of the others, but this one doesn't. Like, because I don't need to have it all the way finished before I take a step, right? Some people do.
And I think that's a key part of being a good entrepreneur, because there's a lot of things that aren't going to be exactly in the place where you feel they should be in their place in order to move forward. Sometimes you just have to set in motion what you can, move forward, and then check back up on it. So I kind of think that's the sentiment. Like, you may not be able to completely tie your shoes, is what he's saying, because you got to go, but your shoes are on, and you know, technically you can move with your laces untied.
Yeah.
So when we talk about perfectionists, just to give you guys a definition, this is typically a person who has high expectations for themselves. And if they do not meet that goal 100%, even if they meet it at 99%, it's still not good enough. And that's a hard life to live. Like, nobody is perfect, right? We are all human. So the advice that we give to this is, one, give yourself grace. You're not perfect, and nothing is ever going to be 100%. Two, a lot of times teamwork makes the dream work. A lot of times you can't do everything on your own, so you might need to get in a think tank or call your mentor or just whatever it may be to get you unstuck, if you're even stuck, because 99%, which is 1% away from 100, is not bad. And also just acknowledging this year that it's okay to make mistakes. Because, you know, I love that song by Ashlea, First You Don't Succeed, You Get Back Up and Try Again. I feel like that's one of the parables of life. So, Damien, what you got to say about that as we move on to the next one?
Yeah, for sure. That's exactly it for me. And then for the next one, the expert, right?
Let's talk about it.
Now, this one, you know, sometimes I get caught in this one,
Yeah.
right? Because I think, oh man, I gotta have more information, you know, in order to speak the information, right?
Yeah, I get
So
that.
that's tough. Like, I gotta watch a couple more videos. I gotta watch a couple.
You're going to be
knowing
here all
that
day.
all day watching, you know, TikTok, you know, learning how to pop, pop, learning how to do the thing. You know what I'm
Don't you
saying?
come out with the
Pop,
dance
pop,
move video.
pop,
You
ooh,
better
ooh.
not.
Yeah. So
If Damien comes out with
sometimes.
a dance move video, I'm dead. I'm
Yeah.
dead if Damien comes out with a dance move video. I
Listen.
can't handle it.
Listen, so sometimes I can't be the expert on all the dances. So, you know, when I'm popping it, but this kind of fits. You know what I mean? I may not make my TikTok video until I get all the dance moves down. Now, some people, they don't need to have all the moves. You done seen the video. Some people aren't experts. Okay? Some people are not experts, but they still make the videos.
I was literally just talking to one of my best friends, Roshana, about this yesterday, that there's the goods and the bads about TikTok, right? TikTok gives everybody an opportunity to try,
Everybody.
right? But at the same time, it gives a platform for experts, but then it gives a platform for some who maybe it's time to try something different. Like, maybe these just aren't your strengths. And so, you know, but we all out here living life, doing what we do, and figuring out what mistakes we make, our weaknesses, and then moving forward. So for the expert, the clear definition is you spend so much time gathering information and more information that it actually stops you or makes you procrastinate from the actual task that you started at the beginning that you needed the information for.
Yeah.
So then you're stuck.
Stuck.
So for this one, you can't hoard information. We are like the information highway right now in 2023. You can look at any platform at the moment, and there is going to be the topic that you're looking for. So I think the key things are you find the key points of your topic, and then you think about the experience that you have in your expertise or in your field. And me personally, I love to do anecdotal stories. You know, Damien always adds in anecdotal stories for whatever you're researching or whatever goal you're doing or whatever speaking engagement you're doing, and then move on. But you can't spend all this time collecting knowledge, you know, for if you want to get the task done.
Yeah.
So moving on.
So next we got the superhuman. You know, so this one, yeah, I have a question around, right? Because is this more like keeping up with the Joneses? Like, it says, often feels like a fraud around their colleagues because their colleagues are in a certain place. They want to be at the same place kind of thing. Is that what it is?
I mean, I would say yes to that. When I read this, what came to mind to me is like if you're in an office setting and you've got someone who's already been told like the job is well done,
They go over and beyond.
And so, but they're still there till 10 p.m. at night, or you know what I mean? They're constantly trying to prove themselves, even though the proof is already in their work.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
That's what I thought of it.
And look, folks, if you are these people, here at Celery Marketing Group, we are hiring. So if you need a place to be and you want to feel like family, we got a place for you here. Also, Bryson Lawn Service, we're also hiring. So if you got some energy to get out and you don't feel like you're doing enough in your job, we'll take you.
And this person too, just to note, this person is often validated by others, so good job at work, or validated by their partner or their friends, but their expectations, this is a relationship with self issue. Their expectations are so high. They're constantly striving for, I think, this self-worth or this gaining of confidence that they go. And sometimes this equals burnout. And honestly, sometimes this messes up relationships because you're hyper-focused on this goal that you've technically already met. And the people around you and your relationships around you suffer.
So look, again, feel free to reach out, DM. We are hiring. So come on in. We'll help you overcome this one.
Superhero.
Now the next one, the natural genius. Now this is more my lane.
I roll over here, you guys.
The natural genius. But with this, I think I struggled with this earlier in my entrepreneurial endeavors because of what I was going into was super technical, right? And so for me, I always catch on to things. I'm a kinesthetic learner. I learn by doing. I learn by touching. So for me, it was if I couldn't grasp a concept, right, like a code when I was teaching myself to code, if I couldn't grab it quickly, and my quickly for somebody else might be, it's like, well, man, you killed that. Yeah. But for me, I just couldn't learn it fast enough, right? I couldn't implement it fast enough. So I think this for me was a lot of what I struggled with early on.
I could definitely see that. And, so you guys, the definition of this one is that maybe in your younger age or younger stages, you are naturally good at the things or the tasks that were put in front of you. So people who are just naturally good at school, it didn't take much effort. You didn't have to study much. You didn't have to read much. But after you get out of high school, you go into college or you go into the work field, things don't always come as easily to you. And one of the things to think about is your brain has so many different parts. And so you may have been strengthening one muscle in your brain, but then when you got out of this usual routine that came easy to you or doing this task that came easy to you, it required a different part of the brain. Also remember that the brain continues to develop until age 25. So if we really look at the facts of neurobiology, it doesn't make sense that you would be good at everything, right? But we get this into our head, especially if we've lived a life where everything just came easily, everything flowed into place, and we didn't have to take much time at it, that when we get stumped or we get stuck in a situation, it can cause anxiety and depression. And this is what we have here with the natural genius. So if you struggle with being a natural genius, find somebody who's doing what you want to do that is good at it and ask for lessons or ask for an informational interview. But the one thing that you don't want to do is the negative self-talk and, making your low self-esteem go lower, or if you had high self-esteem, making it go lower. You want to get out of this mindset and figure out a solution.
Now, speaking of high self-esteem, we have a sponsor called High Level.
Oh, look at that.
Right? See that? Listen, folks, if you're looking to take your business to another level through automation, through organization. You know, some people, they still use Excel sheets to keep track of everything in their business. Crazy, right? They're still responding to each customer individually every time an email comes in. Listen, that's crazy. If you're doing any of that, stop it. Go to MrHighLevel.com and sign up for the free 30-day trial High Level and check us out.
Welcome to High Level. We're an all-in-one platform that gives you everything you need to capture, nurture, and close leads like never before. In High Level, you'll find features like a full CRM, funnel, website, course, marketing automations and email builders, a consolidated email, SMS, WhatsApp, and social chat stream, reputation management, social media posting, and so much more. And the best part is, High Level is fully white labeled, which means you can brand the platform and mobile app with your logo and company colors, then resell it to your customers for a monthly subscription that goes straight into your agency's bank account. The powerful combination of software plus your service and expertise will drive your customers' retention and your profits through the stratosphere. Sign up for a 14-day free trial today.
Again, folks, forget the 14-day free trial. When you go to MrHighLevel.com, you get a 30-day extended free trial. You're not going to get that anywhere else. MrHighLevel.com, sign up for High Level. Take your business to the next level, the higher level. All right? Do that,
How does he
folks.
come up with this stuff?
Do that. This is crazy. It's so good. Now, look, we're going to hop into number 5 here. Last of the 5 types of imposter syndrome, the soloist. So... Now, for me, I'll tell you a story real quick. In high school, my freshman year, I got into student government. I became the freshman class president. I was freshman, sophomore, junior class president, student body president, the whole thing. But I was the freshman class president. And so for me, I had a hard time letting stuff go, right? So I was trying to do all the things. I'm trying to write my agenda for the meeting, trying to do all of the... trying to do it all, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so the first half of the first semester midterm, I had a D in student government.
You had a D in
D
student government.
in student government.
Sheesh.
A D, folks, in student government. So my advisor, Mr. Adelson, pulled me to the side and said, listen, you know why you have a D? I said, I don't know. This is crazy. This is ridiculous. And he says, because you don't know how to delegate.
You got a D for delegate.
I got a D for delegation.
Shout out to that teacher. What's that teacher's name?
Listen, we're not going to mention
That was
him again.
funny. What was his name?
But listen,
He gave me a D because you didn't know how to delegate.
I didn't know how to delegate. So it was a great lesson for me. I didn't do anything else for the rest of my 3 3/4 years in high school. I let her, Patty, shout out to Patty. She wrote every agenda for me for the rest of my whole high school. Every year, wrote all of the agendas for the meeting. So shout out to Patty. But yes, I got a D because I just wouldn't let things go, right? I couldn't do it. And that's kind of what the soloist, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the soloist has difficulty being okay with an achievement. So they still may achieve something, but if they didn't do it solely on their own. So Damian Dane, that was a really good example of thinking that you need to do everything. And the thing about it is, once again, being a perfectionist, being the soloist, being the expert, all 5 of these imposter syndrome things, it's basically you telling yourself that everything falls on your shoulders. You're not thinking about your environment. You're not thinking about you're only human with 24 hours in the day and you need at least 6 to 8 hours of sleep out of those 24 hours. You know what I mean? All these things, you are a person who, I'm going to guess, has experienced abandonment or has experienced people who haven't followed through on their word. And so it's easier for you to just get everything done yourself. And this could be some type of childhood trauma, abandonment, whatever the case. So when you're not able to do things on your own and you actually need to ask for help or you need to delegate, it may cause you a lot of anxiety. And once again, because of what you experienced earlier in life, it taught you that you can only count on yourself. But with this, it causes a lot of anxiety because we're all going to need help. We're all going to need a team, as Damian talked about. You know, he had to delegate the agendas. There was probably committees. And this is the same thing at work, right? Everybody has a job. Everybody has a task. And those tasks are delegated, hopefully among the people within their skill set. But to those of you who are the soloists, you need a team. You're not alone.
You're not alone, folks. You need a team. Now, look, we're coming to the end. Like, every time this is fast.
Yeah, it goes real fast.
We gotta spread this out a little more. But like, so what are some of the tools? Like, we gave you tools as we went along. What is let's go back to what is one thing that they can do today to help them take the first step to getting through this imposter syndrome?
Yeah. So first, I think you need to identify the 3 Ps. These are the symptoms of imposter syndrome. So it's like, how do I even really know I have this? Or how is this impeding my life so much that I actually want to do something about it? So perfectionism, of course, was one. Procrastination. Damien talked about that a lot in his examples, that, sometimes you will get stuck in your tracks or become overwhelmed, which is still can create procrastination because of these imposter syndrome types. And then lastly, paralysis, where you just don't do anything. You really have all these desires and goals to do these things, and you actually probably think you could, but because you can't figure it out, because everything isn't set up, because your shoes aren't tied, using his example, you don't go forward. So I would say, number one, at least identify that you have imposter syndrome, and then whichever one you have, this is a marriage and family therapist strategic technique. Do the opposite. So if you're a soloist, go find a team. If you're an expert, if you're already calling yourself an expert, then you probably don't need to do as much research as you think anyway. If you're a perfectionist, do the opposite. Try to leave it alone. If it's 99% okay, then you're going to be okay, boo.
Yeah.
So let's try, just out there, try doing the opposite this week and let us know how it goes.
Perfect. Now, look, if you're looking for some help, folks, favorandgraceunder.fire.com.
Right.
favorgraceunder.fire.com. Make sure you schedule an appointment, get on the wait list, get the help that you need.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm not a licensed therapist, they may have put that out there, the people.
Nobody put that out there.
Okay, they didn't put that out there.
Nobody.
But look, I'm not a licensed therapist, but I'll tell you, you need to go get the help that you need if you need help. I've been watching a lot of movies that either have a thing on the end. It must be getting bad out there because every movie has, if you know someone who's thinking about her, every movie, right? Folks, listen, the pandemic gave us this PTSD. We need to get the help. So make sure you go to favorgraceunder.fire.com or get the help that you need somewhere else. Again, I'm not a licensed therapist,
Nobody questioned that.
But I'm going to give you a technique to get over imposter syndrome.
Nobody hold me down. Oh no, I got to keep on moving.
Now, look, that's my way to help you get rid of your imposter syndrome. Just throw that junk in the trash so you can be great. We want you to be great. We want you to be better. As always, let's be better together. Be good to yourselves and be good to everyone else. We out. The podcast is for educational entertainment purposes only. The content discussed is not a replacement for therapy or a formal therapy session or group. This is not therapy and or therapy group, and all content is generally based and not specific to any issue, problem, or person due to lack of a personalized information and absence of a signed agreement from all parties stating that this is a therapy session or group. Let's get it.